It's almost hard to believe, but real racing is back.
Yes, and what better way to start World Tour racing than with Strade Bianche for men and women. That beautiful but brutal race across the white gravel roads of Tuscany.
And it's the first race we've got live on Race Pass. Happy days.
Yes.
Coming up, we're going to go through the routes, the history of both of the races, and indeed the main protagonists taking part.
Yeah, and what a list of main protagonists there is.
Strade Bianche has had a rather meteoric rise to fame in many respects. It started out in 2007, and back then it took place in October. The race finally settled on its current name of Strade Bianche in 2013, and since then there's also been quite the list of winners, really, hasn't there? Michał Kwiatkowski has won it twice. Fabian Cancellara took his third victory in that time. It's also been won by Stybar, Benoit, and most recently Julian Alaphilippe.
As you say, Dan, in 13 editions, that is quite the list of winners, isn't it? Now, there wasn't a women's race added until 2015, but since that time, that too has had an epic list of winners. So we've had Garnier, we've had Dijkman, Longo Borghini, we've had Van der Breggen and Van Vleuten, who, since she won in 2019, has basically been unstoppable.
Now, whilst the name of the race has changed quite a few times over its history, albeit brief, the actual course has remained pretty much the same.
Which makes it all the more remarkable that Dan still holds the KOM for the final 10 kilometres of the race.
Well, it does. To be honest, I wish they'd changed the course up slightly so that KOM was a bit safer.
We'd all assumed it had changed, Dan.
I'm petrified every March, or in this case, August. Regardless, the men's race will cover a total of 184 kilometres, just as they have done for the previous two editions. Within that are 63 kilometres of gravel white roads over 11 sectors. So that's about 34% of the total race distance.
Yeah, now the women's race, meanwhile, has got progressively longer since its debut in 2015, when it was just 103 kilometres. And the organisers now seem to have settled on a route that's 136 kilometres long, with 30 k's of gravel roads in, and that's over 8 sectors.
Both races follow the same route out of Siena for roughly the first 55 kilometres or so, and then also for the final 40 kilometres of both events back into Siena, including that now legendary final 10 kilometre segment. Anyway, this is one of those rare races actually that seems to suit both the bigger classics riders but also the pure climbers or even Grand Tour contenders.
Yeah, it has produced, almost without exception, aggressive and exciting racing. And it's run over some of the most beautiful and scenic roads you could ever wish to ride, or indeed just watch.
Well, we should probably start talking about the favourites to win the races this year, because given the list we've got, it could take us quite some time.
Well, yeah, it is quite the list, isn't it? In the men's race, we have 5 former winners on the start line. So both Alaphilippe and Stybar from De Koning Quickstep. We've got Benoit from Lotto Soudal. We've got Kwiatkowski from Ineos, and also Philippe Gilbert from Lotto Soudal.
Yeah, not bad names in the world of cycling.
Not really.
You can also add to those names that of Greg van Avermaet. He's actually finished in the top 10 of this race on 7 occasions, twice second, but never quite been able to win it. You've got Jakob Fuglsang, who of course was oh so close in the 2019 edition. And then you've got Peter Sagan, no longer in the rainbow stripes, strangely, but he's never managed to win this race either, despite the fact you'd imagine this suits him down to the ground.
Well, absolutely. And we will continue on because we've got Oliver Naesen of AG Desert. We've also got Turns and Garcia Cortina from Bahrain McLaren. And then also Vincenzo Nibali, who's going to be the chief at Trek Segafredo.
Another interesting one, actually, because I guess with over 3,000 metres of climbing and technical descent, it also suits Nibali down to the ground as well.
So.
He's never finished better than 15th. I wonder if it's because of the proximity to his goals under normal circumstances, and maybe this year he'll hit the ground running.
Well, a change of date could change a lot of things, couldn't it?
Yeah, could do. Also, another pure climber on the start list is Tadej Pogačar. Fantastic to see him down there. And how can we not mention our 2 cyclocross stars?
Ah, yes, they being Wout van Aert and Mathieu Van Der Poel, of course. Wout van Aert made quite the debut in 2018 for his cramp, as we've already heard about, but also because of the fact that it was one of his first ever big road races, and he finished on the podium. Whereas for Mathieu Van Der Poel, this year will be his debut.
And will no doubt start as the bookies' favourite as well, despite the fact that it's his first participation at the race. And to be fair, given the fact that the climbs aren't too long, there's an abundance of gravel roads, the short steep climb up towards the finish, It doesn't look too bad on paper for Van Der Poel either, does it?
It doesn't, does it really? And it doesn't look too bad on paper for Annemiek Van Vleuten either, does it really? And I say that not because she is world champion or because she soloed to victory here last year, but more because she's won all 4 races that she's done this year in the rainbow jersey. And 3 of them have been in the last week.
I think I know who might be the bookie's favourite on the women's side
Yes.
of the race. Although she has got some very serious competition here. Now, as we record this, the official start list on the women's race is a little bit sparse, but you'd have thought Anna van der Breggen will be there. She's a former winner, former world champion. She'll be riding for Bulls Dormans. And you'd also have thought that Marianne Vos of CC Liv will be taking part.
Well, yeah, now she's not won this race before, which is kind of a rarity in itself, isn't it? One that she'd probably like to correct. Ashley Moorman-Passio, I'm sure, is going to be hoping that reality goes half as well as her virtual racing has done over the last few months. And also Kasia Nui-Adoma. So she, no doubt, is going to be hoping that she can convert those 4 podium finishes in the last 4 editions into that elusive victory.
Be nice to see,
Well, yeah.
wouldn't it? Watch out too for Anneke Langvad of Bulls Dormans if she's riding. Mountain biker who very much impressed everyone last year. And finally, don't count out Marta Bastianelli of Italy. She appears to be, like Van Vleuten, getting stronger and stronger with age.
Ooh, 36 degrees, sunny, white road, dusty. Recipe for dry mouth, isn't it? It can be pretty unpleasant racing, but it's not going to affect our enjoyment of spectating, is it? In fact, could well enhance it a little bit.
Right, well, I guess it's time, Si, to give our kisses of death.
Annemiek Van Vleuten.
Oh, Mathieu Van Der Poel.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
What? I wanted to get in early.
I was going to say we're going to kisses of death and predictions. It was like handbags at dawn. That was guns drawn at dawn or whatever it is.
Yep.
Right, so that's 2 kisses of death already given out then.
Yeah, all right. So for my men's prediction then, since you got Van Der Poel, I'm going to go for a bit of an outsider, just to, add a bit of interest. Mike Turnison.
Jumbo-Visma.
Yep.
Not a bad shout, actually.
Thanks.
Good classics pedigree.
Yep.
Got better on the climbs in recent years.
Former cyclocross rider.
Yeah. I'm quite impressed with that one.
Thanks, mate.
Well, I guess I better have an outsider for the women's race as well then.
Go on then.
I mean, it is hard to look beyond Annemiek van Vleuten.
Well, that's why I picked her really fast.
Well, that's why I picked Mathieu Van Der Poel. So I am going to go for Mavi Garcia of Ale BTC Ljubljana, as it's known these days.
Okay, well that is quite a curveball.
It is.
What?
You watch this space.
All right.
It's been looking pretty good in the last 3 Spanish races.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we will be watching this race. Of course we will, because if you need reminding, this is going to be on Race Pass on Saturday, live. If you do need reminding after that fact, it will be available on demand, and of course there will be highlights as well.
Yeah. Oh, and also, after the event, we're going to be doing some post-race analysis with none other than Bradley Wiggins, which I'm very much looking forward to. So tune in for that as well.
It's going to be an epic day on Saturday, isn't it? I cannot wait.